Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and today we're going to be talking about our friend, the Sega Dreamcast, and specifically a brand new game for it called Flea 2. Now before we do that though, if you guys could do me a favor, please like this video, comment down below, subscribe if you've never done that before, as well as check out all the social media stuff I've got in the description. I've got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Patreon, Spreadshirt, my travel channel, etc. I appreciate the support on all those platforms. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. Now, yes, if you are unaware, the Sega Dreamcast, my favorite video game console of all time, still gets brand new games every once in a while. However, it's worth noting, these games are not made by major companies like Sega, or even other major third-party developers, etc. They're made by indie developers and publishers. People who have a passion or some sort of motivation at one point to get a game onto the Dreamcast. There's a whole host of different reasons why that happens, but in this particular case, we have a new game called Flea 2. So this was made by a buddy of mine named Alistair. I've actually covered a couple of his games in the past. He did Flea 1, as well as Tapeworm Disco Puzzle. I did videos on both, you can check them out. So he just randomly messaged me one day, and he's like, yo, my new game's already done, I'm going to send you a copy. I was like, sounds good, because I like to cover Dreamcast stuff, so I appreciate him doing that. As I understand it, the backstory with this particular release was that after he made Flea, there was a bunch of like ideas and things he had still wanted to do in the game. He was just never able to implement, and he just started kind of tinkering and working with it more, and then adding new content. And then apparently he was getting enough demand that people were like, "Can we get another game?" And he was like, "All right, fine." So he just finished it up and made Flea 2. Now it's worth noting, because this is a common criticism of Dreamcast indies, is that looks like something that would have been on the NES. This game actually was made for the NES. That was actually what he built it for. That's his passion system. That's why I said there's a multitude of different reasons why games can end up on the Dreamcast. This is one of the scenarios where somebody made a game for something they were passionate about, and because the Dreamcast is easy to bring content to, it just had the benefit of the windfall of that creation. That's why we have a Dreamcast version. So from a technical perspective, the Dreamcast version, I asked him this outright. I'm like, did you port it over, or was it emulated? What's the deal? He's like, it's just an NES ROM that's using the Dreamcast NES emulator. However, they did make alterations specifically to that ROM to optimize the Dreamcast, namely things like controller, configuration, like nothing major, but stuff like that. So it's not like taking literally the NES game and just playing it on here. The NES ROM they wrote for the Dreamcast was more tailored to it, but it is ultimately using an emulator. So that's how that goes. So that would be, I guess, point number 2 on the background of that. So you'll notice that we have a few different items with it, as well as the fact that there's a limited number, I should point that out. So this is a jewel case version of the game. Only 200 copies of the jewel case are being produced because, again, this game was made more for an NES release. So if you're into the Dreamcast like I am, you might want to get this while you still can. And we'll open it up here in a minute. But the other items that came with it, this is not standard with the jewel case version. He just threw this in as a bonus for me. And I was very confused why there was 3 items here. So this is the jewel case version of the game. This contains everything. In fact, not only does it contain the game, this is where the confusion starts, the game also doubles as a music CD. So the score for the game will actually function, on your PC or even an Xbox Series X, funny enough. You can just play the music CD off of that and enjoy the music if you want to. It's a bonus feature. So when he did the NES version, he also created a collector's edition of the NES version that came with this. This is the bonus music CD for that. However, you'll notice the obvious Dreamcast packaging. Now, because the Dreamcast version of the game could also function as a music CD, there was no reason not to include this as the bonus music CD with the NES version, because then you can also say, by the way, if you like the Dreamcast and have one, that bonus music CD will let you play the game on your Dreamcast. That makes sense. The reason for this middle one is actually the funny one. This does not work on the Dreamcast. This is just a music CD, and you might be like, what's the point of that? This is a production error. So when he was making this version of the game, basically he told me that what happened was the company kind of screwed up the order, and they didn't actually put the Dreamcast data on this pressing. They just put the music files. But rather than trash them all, they finished it up anyway and gave it to him and said, like, here, you just give them away as free music CDs. So this is the same exact thing, just minus the Dreamcast data. Purely music CD. Music CD and game, music CD and game in nice case. Capiche? All right, cool. So with that, all that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and open up the case here. It is worth noting, of course, because this is a big requirement from me, this is a pressed disc. So this is not like Alistair just like got out his CD burner and wrote some stuff with a Sharpie and said, hey, there's my new game. No. He actually did what you're supposed to do. Because I remember talking to him about this, because when he did Flea 1 originally, he just did CDRs. And I was like, step your game up, son. And to his credit, he did. So Flea got a bigger release, and that is also the case here. So there's your front artwork there. Containing, again, the Flea from the first game. Well, I presume it's the same Flea. And just like a little, what looks like a spray paint can. By Low Tech Games, in case I didn't mention the name of his company there. And inside, we have a little manual. Let's see if I can get this out here without damaging it. There we go. Okay, it's just a one sheet basically, and first sheet just has the Dreamcast controller and playing instructions, controller inputs, etc. It has a tiny little comic book inside, which is I guess just the backstory of it, with what looks kind of like a Ninja Turtle themed thing there, which is kind of funny. And then on the back it has credits about Alistair did the art and design, and there was programming by different guys, and then it goes over the soundtrack functionality of it. So that's cool. Inside we have the disc, which again is a pressed disc. You can tell just by looking at it. It's kind of inspired by that PAL style Dreamcast case, even though this is more of a North American artwork case. And then you have the innards, which again kind of almost looks Ninja Turtle-y to me. And then on the back you have just screenshots of the game, as well as the number. Mine is actually number 174 out of 200. It also has a description. Flea 2 is a challenging platformer with an intriguing backstory. Play as Henry, the hyperactive Flea who just can't stop jumping. Navigate the beasts and collect blood and rescue all the fleas. So there you go. That's what you're going to do. The game is, of course, region-free, as independent games always are. But enough talking about it. Let's go ahead and pop it into the Dreamcast and give it a go.
All right, here we go. So that's Flea 2, the main screen there. I kind of skip past that a little bit, but instantly when you look at the game, you can tell, yes, it's obviously an NES-inspired game. So he plays this little character hopping along. So here you press like X to interact with this character. This is one of those examples of customizations that was done for the Dreamcast. So obviously the NES controller does not have an X button, so that's the kind of things they would alter before they made the Dreamcast version. So it's just the normal tutorial stuff where they kind of tell you, like, do this, and then you can get rewarded for this, like the setups and everything, and then they teach you some of the basic mechanics, like all the hopping around and everything, such as this. You'll see. I will warn you in advance, you will die a lot in this game, like a lot. Basically, anytime you touch any of those spikes or whatever, you die. So it's a matter of trial and error platforming. That's basically the gameplay mechanic here, and just trying to learn the patterns and then figure out the best way to get through it. So I didn't cut out any of the parts where I died, because it happens very, very constantly. I do get through a good chunk of this, and I hope you guys will stick around and enjoy it, and enjoy the music as well. I will say there was one glitch. You're gonna notice it. It was like very clearly like an NES type of glitch, and I don't even have to explain it. You will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, aside from that, all I really have to say is, yeah, I made some progress in this. I think it's a pretty fun game. It definitely tests you. There are not unlimited lives, so you can't just do this forever. You have to actually succeed at some point. So eventually I will fail, but I do make it a decent chunk of the way, so you guys can see kind of what comes up a little later. But yeah, this is something you would have to just kind of really practice and really get good at. But it was actually pretty fun. So huge shout out to Alistair for supporting the Dreamcast. I always like it, of course, when new games get to come out and everything, and I'd love to always review them for you guys as best I can. But if you have any other questions, obviously leave them in the comments and I'll let you know. But I'm going to let you guys enjoy the music and the gameplay here, and I will catch up with you at the end. And I'm dead, as you can see. So that'll do it for this particular video. Huge shout out again to Alistair. If you guys want to pick this game up, there will be a link in the description. You can go ahead and get it, support the cause, etc. Thank you so much again to him for sending this my way, and thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys can do me a favor, please like this video, comment down below, subscribe if you've never done that before, as well as check out all the social media stuff in the description. I've got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Patreon, Spreadshirt, Travel Channel, etc. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.